Today we're going to be constructing a fall-themed vase arrangement using roses, sunflower, leather leaf, boxwood, leucadendron, and solidago. We're also going to be using a glass fall vase that we've constructed a grid on and our bow. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start with our leather leaf and we're going to measure it 2 times the height of our vase. We're going to make sure that we clear off any of the leaves that might get in the way of the grid or go past the grid. We're going to set it at the 12 o'clock position on our clocks at the back of the vase. Then we're going to cut 2 more pieces that will be inserted at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock, creating that fan shape. All of those pieces should be about the same size. Then we're going to go through and add 2 more pieces of our leather leaf. We're going to cut them about the same height and insert them at 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock so that we finish off our fan shape. So we're going to insert our second type of greenery, which is going to be boxwood. We're going to cut the boxwood about the same height as our leather leaf and make sure that we clear off all of the excess leaves so that it doesn't get back past our grid at the top of our vase. We're going to cut it at a 45-degree angle and insert it right in front of our 12 o'clock piece of leather leaf. This is going to make the arrangement fill in as well as create more of that fan shape. Next, we're going to add the leucadendron to bring in a little bit of red and fall color. We're going to cut the first piece about the same height as our greenery and insert it at 10 o'clock. We're going to cut our second piece of leucadendron to be about 2 inches shorter than the first one, and we're going to insert that at the 2 o'clock position. This is going to create a little bit more depth and bring in some more of that fall color. Now, before we start with our flowers, we're going to prep these roses a little bit by removing all of the leaves off of the stem and any thorns that might be there. We're also going to take the guard petals off, which are usually 2 or 3 petals that are protecting that bud. We're going to do that with all 3 of the roses before we insert them into the arrangement. We're going to start with our first rose and we're going to cut it to about the same height as our first leucadendron that we cut. And we're going to insert it opposite of the leucadendron at about the 2 o'clock position. Our second rose is going to be about 2 inches shorter than our first one, and it's going to go at about 9 o'clock towards the other direction. And then our last rose is going to go towards the front at 4 o'clock, and that one's going to be about 2 inches shorter than our second rose. To prep the sunflower, we're going to remove the leaves and make sure that the stem is clean. We're going to cut the stem at about 2 inches above the lip of the container, and it's going to be inserted right at 6 o'clock coming out the front of the arrangement. Now we're going to add our solidago. We're going to use 3 small stems of solidago. The first one we're going to cut at the height so that it's between our first and second rows. Once we get that cut, we're going to clean off all the excess leaves underneath the blooms and insert it between the first and second rows. Now we're going to add a second piece of the yellow solidago. We're going to cut it so that it fits right between our second and third rows, and we're going to insert it right there in the middle. Our third piece of solidago is a red tinted solidago. We are going to add this. We're going to cut it so that it's close to the same height as our third rose, and it's going to be inserted between our first and third rows. Now we're going to insert the bow. The bow is going to pull all of the color from the bow and our flowers and pull it down towards the focal point, which is going to be right next to our sunflower. We're going to place that bow between the sunflower and our second rose. The last thing that we're going to do is we're going to add our bow. This bow is going to be inserted right next to our sunflower, between the sunflower and the second rose. This is going to pull all of the colors from the flowers and the bow down to our focal point, which is right there in front by our sunflower. Once we're done with the arrangement, we're going to lightly spray it with Crowning Glory and Leaf Shine. And then we'll insert our card so that it's ready for delivery.